Coming up on Being Rad.
The similarities between like entrepreneurs and athletes, biggest difference is just the speed you are playing.
I'm not afraid of not going. I just know that I won't.
This voice that holds you back, I like to call the bitch voice.
Hello and welcome to Being Rad with me, Robert Alexander Duran. Today I have mindset genius and sleep performance coach Robin Westerlund with me. Robin, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. Now, I want to start this off with a bang. Tell me something that anyone could do to change their life in an instant and that most people aren't doing.
I would say get out of bed as soon as the alarm goes off. That means no more snoozing.
And why would that have such a dramatic effect?
There are a couple of reasons. The first and most obvious reason is you shouldn't look at screens as soon as you get up, like what people usually do if they go back to bed, if they start scrolling, open the email or whatever, do some work stuff. And the other thing is if you snooze, you usually snooze somewhere between 2 and 10 minutes at a time. And when you snooze, you fall back into deeper, like your sleep cycle restarts basically. But you are not sleeping long enough to get into deep state. That means when the alarm goes off again, you will feel groggy, you will wake up in a terrible mood, and your morning is ruined. And it's like, when I ask people that snoozes, like if they are happier when they have snoozed 5 times or 10 times or 25 times, the answer is always no. I feel like shit. So if you don't enjoy feeling like shit, you shouldn't snooze.
Fair enough. And does that apply to everyone? Because like I've heard that people with ADHD, for example, aren't particularly good at waking up. Is that across the board or is it? Yeah.
It's for the majority of people, I would say snoozing holds you back more than it helps you. If you need to stay in bed, like if you feel like you can't get up immediately, I would suggest that you stay in bed but without closing your eyes. Like you're not falling asleep, but you're staying in bed for, let's say, 10 minutes or something, just because it's warm and cozy and because you want to start the day in a slower mood. Like you don't want to do a front flip out of bed when the alarm goes off. And that's okay. But it's the snooze part that usually messes up our sleep cycle.
That's me that you just described. I've never been a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said to many people that if you get me before usually midday or at least 10 a.m., it's not the same person.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, I'm going to have to start trying to implement that though, and getting up and not lagging to start the day.
Yeah.
Awesome. How did you get into the sleep performance and mindset coaching? What's your journey been like?
Yeah. So I always been an athlete. I've been playing football. You're in England, right? You are in England.
Yes.
So you say
we call it football here.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
soccer.
Yeah. Awesome. That's what I thought. So I can call it, but it's the right word. Football. Yeah. So I've been playing football my entire life. And I love to compete, and I've watched a lot of sports. And like from a quite early age, I kind of felt like there was something else than just the physical abilities that like made certain players perform better and certain players perform worse. Like everybody was in kind of the same physical shape, but still some people scored 50 goals per season, and some people never scored a goal, and most people were somewhere in between. But I knew like from a young age, my own performance was either like really, really good or really, really bad. It was never in the middle. Like I didn't do average games. I did the worst I was the worst player on the pitch or the best, never in between. And I kind of like started thinking, what's this? Like, why does it happen like this? I found out like the more I started thinking about it, doing research, this was like when I was an early teenager, that it has to do with your mind. I started seeing like great athletes like Michael Jordan, Steven Gerrard, people like that. It was like they had something in their mind that made them perform better. that like made them fight harder. They wanted to win more than the other guys. I didn't like put a lot of time into thinking about it then, but like sometimes. But then I found that this education to become a mental performance coach when I was about 23, and I had been like searching for my purpose, like what am I supposed to do? How can I make the world better? I knew I had a really strong drive, but I didn't know like how to convert that drive into something that I wanted to do. And I found this education to become a mental performance mental performance coach. And the description was like, you can coach athletes. So basically like you can be a coach for athletes, but not like a football coach, but like someone that coaches athletes how to perform better. And I felt like this education is made for me. I really felt like I've never felt such a strong urge to do anything in my life before as when I like applied for this education. And it was 3-year education. I went through it. I got my diploma. I started coaching people on the side. I learned a lot about sleep. Sleep is one of these things that I actually had, like, it's a benefit I've had my entire life. I always been able to fall asleep really quickly. And I think I was like 7 or 8 years old when the first person told me, oh, I wish I could do that. Like I would pay any amount of money to be able to fall asleep that quickly. That was like the first time I heard it. I didn't have the entrepreneurial spirit by then, so I didn't think about it. But I started thinking about it when I was in this mental performance education, because we talked a lot about pro athletes sleeping. Like pro athletes has to sleep well. If they don't get to even play the next day. So I combined my drive and my mind, like my interest for mindset and sleep, and I started trying it on the people I coached, and I got great results with both. So I decided to make a career out of it.
That's amazing. Yeah. So how did you transition from coaching athletes to coaching entrepreneurs, and what are the kind of similarities that you see between the two fields?
Mm-hmm. Great question. So actually, when I started out, I didn't know enough athletes that were interested in leveling up their mind to like have enough people to work with. So I asked some people in the personal development space, like my friends, connections on Facebook. I just sent out messages to them and asked like, hey, I'm currently trying to get my mental performance coach diploma. I need some test clients basically to see if my stuff works and to get my diploma. Would you be up for that? Would you be up for me coaching you for 3 calls for free and just give me feedback so I know what to work on? And everybody asked said yes. So suddenly I had like 8 people, 4 of them being like normal people with regular jobs or like entrepreneurs, and 4 of them some sort of athletes. What they had in common were they wanted to become better. They either wanted like their sleep to become better, or they wanted to become better at their job or craft. And I got great results for them. So 6 out of 8 that like tried me for free stayed with me and started paying me when I asked them. The similarities between like entrepreneurs and athletes, I would say there is very big similarities. Like, I would say like the biggest difference is just the field you are playing in. I see entrepreneurs and athletes as it's kind of the same, because it's just if you're doing it because of the love of the game, or if you're doing it because of the love of the sport. Like, have you always been an entrepreneur? You're probably building a business by now. Have you always been a great athlete? You're probably trying to become an even better athlete. And many people transition when their pro career are over. They transition from sports to business, and they usually do really well. And that's because they are very similar. Does that make sense?
So it's kind of that competitive nature kind of thing that's required in both. Is that right?
Yes, that's exactly right. And if you have the drive, like let's say you become great at football, if you have the drive to train harder than the other guy, to improve your mindset, you take care of your body, your routine. If you just take the things that made you a great athlete and implement it in business, you can't basically fail in business either, because you already know the secrets, which is usually hard work and a bit of mindset improvement. But it's there are a lot of former pro athletes that are really, really successful business owners.
Absolutely. Look at like people like Big Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal, and Michael Jordan's.
Yes.
I don't know if he has his own business, but he's crushed it with Nike. Tiger Woods, has done Tiger Woods in terms of business. He was getting paid more from Nike, I think, to play tournaments than he would have been paid by winning. So, there's a lot of sport people that do well in business. I don't think there's quite as many people who do well in business first and then can cross that over into sporting prestige. But
no,
that's probably why they went into business first.
But the age usually stops you from, like, it's hard to become a pro athlete when you're 40. It's I'm not saying it's impossible because but it's a bit harder
unless you're going to play darts.
Darts might work.
Darts isn't really what is it?
Yeah,
you see the people playing pro darts, they've got like a pint of beer next to them while they're playing. And I'm sure if they were allowed, a lot of them would be smoking a cigarette. Like, you don't see that in many other pro sporting events, do you?
No, that's true.
So with the mindset coaching that you do, what does that look like? What do you tend to work on with your clients? And give me an overview of what that looks like. Is there a program? Is there kind of a set of steps that you take them through? Give me some more on that.
Yeah, will do. So I have a 12-week high-ticket program that my clients go to. That is like my flagship program. And if they want to stay after those 12 weeks, I also offer like monthly retainers that they can pay me and stay with me without any length. They can stay for 1 month if they want. They can stay for 3 years if they want. That's up to them. The flagship program is built to help you achieve your goals, or at least make you the kind of person that are able to achieve your goals. So the program does not include me telling you what your goals should be, because your goals should always come from within, if that makes sense. That's like the first step. And I don't care if you want to buy a course next Friday or to make $200 or pounds more per month. Like the amount of, like, how big or small the goal is has nothing to do with me. You hire me to help you achieve your goals faster and more sustainable. Like, I want you to be able to repeat what you learned in the program for the rest of your life every time you want to achieve a new goal. What holds most people back? What takes most of my most of my work is about is helping people get over their limiting beliefs and like turning their self-talk from being really negative to supportive. And this is not the same as like turning negative thinking into positive thinking. So what I'm doing is not positive thinking. It's just I'm trying to help you stop standing in your own way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Do you have any specific modality to do that, or is it kind of on a case-by-case basis, dependent on the client and where they're at?
Great question. So how I do it, like when I create a plan with my client, it's always personalized. It's like, because people have different goals, they have different lifestyles, they have different routines, they have different backgrounds, etc. So I can't take just one framework and throw it to everyone, because it's really important for me. As I said in the beginning, I love to compete. It's really, really important for me that my clients win, because I probably love winning more than any person you ever met. And I know all humans love winning, but it's like, you can't put me up in a competition without doing everything in my power to beat you. And I don't care if we play Monopoly, football, or like it's a sales competition. I don't care. If you put me in a competition, I want to win. And when people hire me, I see it as my duty to help them win, because I can't keep being a coach if my clients get bad results or if they don't get results at all. The only way for me to stay in this game, which I love, is by helping my clients win. And I do have, like, if I tell you what's most common, what people usually need the most help with is paying attention to their inner voice. So that's like the biggest pillar basically that we work with, because most people have a really negative or like critical inner voice, and they do think, or like they have had it for so many years, so they think it's their only voice. So this voice that holds you back, I like to call the bitch voice. And this is the voice that, like, when you do something well, it tells you it's not good enough, or it tells you, like, it inflates your ego, and it, like, its main job is make sure that you stay safe. So it does everything in its power to hold you back. So we kind of needed this voice, like back in the Stone Age, to survive, but we don't need it now. Like, we don't, when you are about to start your own business or go shoot a penalty in the World Cup, you don't need the bitch voice, because it will trash talk you into defeat. And my job is giving you the tools to fight back against this voice. And the worst thing about it is, because it's a part of you, it knows all your weaknesses. So every time you stay in the sofa instead of going to the gym, it's your bitch voice that runs the show. Every time you go to the gym, it's the real you. I call this, like, the voice that helps us do things. It's like the real version of us. It's the ultimate version of us that tries to get a turn to speak. But our bitch voice knows all our weaknesses, and it pulls all the string, all the strings, pushes all the buttons to help us, to make us stay stuck. Because progress is dangerous. Because what happens if I start a business and it fails? What happens if I go to the gym and get injured? What happens if I go out and run in the rain? Shit like that. That's your bitch voice. My job is to help you reduce that.
So what have you done personally to silence your bitch voice?
Great question. I would say my life basically is a constant fight against my bitch voice. It might sound a bit dramatic. It's not as bad as it sounds. But, like, one of the things I do on a daily basis is, as soon as I think about, let's say, I see a paper on the floor, and I just step over it and think, like, I'll handle it later, or I need to do the dishes, but I think, like, I do it later. This only takes 10 minutes. As soon as I get the thought, like, this doesn't really matter, I have to do it later, I practice daily on doing it right away, because I know that do it later is an excuse. In other words, it's the bitch voice way to try to keep you lazy. That's like one thing that I do on a daily basis. So I try to, all these small things that is like, it doesn't matter, I do it later, whatever. I can skip the gym today. As soon as I think I can skip the gym today, I have to go to the gym. As soon as I think I don't feel like running today, it's raining, I have to go for a run just to show the voice that I'm in charge. And because I do this frequently, my confidence in myself grows over time.
Yeah, that's like something I saw Alex Hormozi talking about in terms of building confidence. Maybe you don't have $100 million in net worth like he does, but you dressed yourself today. You've done small things that can lead up to having the confidence to put yourself out there to do something different. Yeah. And, like, I think a lot of it comes down to confronting things and, like you said, not putting it off. Yeah. Because the more you put things off, like you said, the bitch voice is won at that point. Yeah. And the more you confront things head on a regular basis, the more discipline you can then create, right? Yes. Yes. And the more trust you build in yourself. Because if you wake up in the morning and you say, today I'm going to go to the gym, and in the evening you haven't gone to the gym, when you go to bed, you will feel like a loser. You will be disappointed in yourself. You will have a hard time looking at yourself in the mirror. We want to avoid all those things, because all those things are added fuel on the bitch voice's fire, basically. The bitch voice is really good at arguing. You don't need to give it more arguments. You don't have to give it more tools to keep you stuck. Yeah. It's really good at doing it all by itself. You don't have to help it. It's funny that you use that example of going to the gym as well, because yesterday my girlfriend asked me if I'm afraid of, if I don't go to the gym first thing in the morning, am I afraid of not going? I was like, I'm not afraid of not going. I just know that I won't. Yeah. I know that if I don't go first thing in the morning, it won't happen for the rest of the day. So I make a point of it being, I will go I try to do 5 days a week,
Okay.
but I also have to listen to my body. Like my right rotator cuff at the moment is on shaky ground. So like you have to be in tune with what's going on, not just smash through all the time, right?
Of
But
course.
I still make sure I know that I'm doing enough. And I'm doing enough to be able to look at myself in the mirror and be like, you're doing all right.
Yes.
Obviously, it's great when you can go, you're the man.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have the sense of I'm doing enough all the time rather than once in a while being able to go, you the man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something I want to go back to there is when you were talking about how you love competition and it is important for your clients to win because it reflects on you. That shows me just how much you care.
Really?
So I've seen the term performance coach banded around a lot, especially in the past probably year. What are your thoughts on all these other people coming into the space because it is unregulated and calling themselves a performance coach and then probably not caring as much as you do? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a great question. I do feel it's a bit shame, but in one way, yes, but in another way, no. Because like the shame is because everybody can call themselves a coach. So it's harder for me to stand out, if that makes sense, as a coach, because people just think that I woke up one day and decided, oh, I'm going to become a coach and make easy money. And that's not the case. This has been like a lifetime in the building. Like I've been building my coaching career since I was 7 years old and started playing football, even though I didn't know I would be coaching. But I use all those skills.
And being able to fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like the bad thing. But the good thing is I don't really care too much because I'm like, how do I say? If you put me against some other performance coach, I'm pretty sure I would beat their ass because I want to compete. So it's game on. It's good with like competition is healthy as well because it make me go even harder. That's like the thing people don't understand. Like people that don't like competing, which is a lie, by the way. Do I think I understand not everyone likes to compete in football or in the gym or in sales.
Do you get a lot of people who have worked with previous performance coaches coming to you and being like, we need someone who actually cares because these other people have not done what they said they would?
Yeah, more and more lately. Not as much in the beginning, but that makes perfect sense because I didn't have the credentials myself in the beginning, of course. Now when I have some more experience, I'm getting more and more of those. Yes.
Cool. So let's shift gears a little bit. What kind of content are you putting out and what have you seen working and what's attracting your clients in terms of content at the moment?
Mm-hmm. So my main platform where I produce content, simply because it's where I've been the longest time, is Facebook. I put out between 2 and 4 posts every day. And by every day, I mean every day, even though I don't work on Sundays, but I schedule the post for Sunday. I've been now putting out content at least twice per day, daily, for almost 2.5 years in a row without missing a day, because consistency is really important to me and I love to compete. So it's important to me to keep the streak alive. I put out a variation of like different content. I sometimes put out these color and backgrounds, like short text, just a few sentences like go to bed, good morning, put down your phone, stop doom scrolling, things like that. Quick tips, like usually a bit funny, but also helps if you like just implement them, they will make your performance better. And I also post a few times per week these longer posts, about 4 times per week. These longer posts that is like pure value, that is like basically a coaching call in text format. And I post a little bit of testimonials. And I recently started an email list. So actually I've been sending out 6 emails per week for the last 5 weeks. It's another thing I'm going to stay consistent with, and it's slowly growing, but it's really fun to write emails as well because I haven't really done it in the past. So it's a new form of content for me, which I enjoy.
That's awesome. I think my favorite post of yours said something along the lines of, "Good morning, everyone, except those people who don't re-rack weights at the gym." I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Those bastards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm a little bit OCD. So
Yeah.
like, I always put the weights back like in order. And like when you go in and someone's either not put them back or they've done a bad job, it's just like, ah. And also like we were saying about those small things that add up to having more self-confidence and more discipline, like putting your weights back in the gym is part of that. And it helps other people. Why wouldn't you do it?
Exactly.
What kind of content are you going to be looking to do more of or looking to expand into in the next 12 months or so, let's say?
That's a great question. I haven't really given that too much thought yet, because I feel like as the more I write, the better I get at writing, of course. I feel like my content has improved quite a lot in the last 12 months alone, just from the sheer volume I've been putting out, which makes sense. Usually when you do something for a long time and you do enough reps of it, you get better at it. You get stronger in the gym if you go 4 or 5 times per week than if you go every once in a while. So I will keep writing for sure. I might be adding some videos, which I know you're the go-to guy, because I know videos convert really well. I haven't made it a decision like I have to implement videos, because as I said, my written content is converting better and better all the time as I'm getting better and better at my job and but I do think mixing videos and like longer text, shorter text would be even better, probably.
But then that brings us to the conversation we were having before we hit record about being on camera. Can you tell me what you said about being an introvert before we jumped on?
Yeah, no, so I'm not an introvert. I'm really extroverted. But yeah, it might be that it lags. So I'm really extroverted. I love talking to people. I do speaking gigs about the same topics I coach, peak performance, sleep, etc. And I've done that for hundreds of people. And if you meet me in person, you will be like, oh, this guy, sure, enjoys talking. but when I'm on video, it's as soon as the video is on, it feels a bit stiff, because it's just something I don't do frequently. So even though I'm extroverted by nature, and I love competing, I love talking in front of people, as soon as I record a video, it feels like, it feels like I would be really introverted when I press record on a video, even though I'm extremely extroverted in real life.
Yeah, and like I said, preaching to the choir, like this whole being on video thing does not come naturally to me, but I've worked at it because it's something that I want to do. Yeah. And also I need to lead by example. If I'm talking to people like yourself and I'm like, hey, I can help you be better on camera, and I'm not doing it myself, there's that whole thing that you were talking about before of being able to look in the mirror and be proud. Like, I am somebody who cannot be giving advice without, obviously there's little things in daily life where people might say, I've got this issue and I've never experienced anything close to it. Yeah. But if we're talking about video, I want to be eating my own cooking, walking the walk, you know what I mean? And if I'm not willing to do that, why would anyone else want to trust me to help them? So that is why I've over the past year or so, I've worked hard to be better on camera, to be able to speak without stumbling over my words quite so much. I know I do a little bit, but I've worked at that so I can be an example, so I can hopefully inspire others to do the same. And it's hard. The bitch voice is there constantly like, you shouldn't be doing this. You're not a TV presenter or an actor. You shouldn't be on camera. And nightmare.
That's the thing. I think that's like the biggest thing. Like, as soon as you press record on the camera, and the bitch voice is like, oh, you're just giving me unlimited opportunities to trash talk you. It's like, no, I appreciate you doing that, like deciding to get better on camera. It shows that you care a lot about your clients as well. And as you said, walking the walk. It's leading by example. Like, I can't sit here and speak to people about like, oh, I'll help you perform better, and then my entire life is a shit show. I need to perform well if I'm going to teach people to perform better. I can't let my bitch voice run the show if I'm going to help people overcome their own limiting beliefs. It's all about leading by example.
I have found that a lot of silencing the bitch voice comes down to like self-acceptance. Like the more I record videos, the more I am accepting of what I look like on camera, how I sound. Like I've always hated my voice, but now I'm getting used to it.
Mm-hmm.
So do you find that with your clients and possibly with yourself, that a lot of what you end up doing is helping them accept who they are, so the bitch voice doesn't have so much ammunition?
Absolutely. I would say it's a universal truth that action cures anxiety. And like the worst thing you can do if you're thinking about doing something, if that's record a video, the worst thing you can do is never starting to record. The longer it takes from the thought, I should record a video, until you do it, the more ammunition you're giving the bitch voice. The more ammunition you give it, the harder it will be to get it done. The sooner you start doing it, even if you record the worst possible video in human history, it doesn't matter. You don't have to upload the first video. You don't have to upload the first 100 videos. Just do them for your own sake, to build confidence in yourself. And it's exactly as you say. It's accepting. Like the more you do it, the more you accept. Okay, I stumble on words sometimes. Okay, my English is not perfect. It's my third language. It's whatever. I speak good enough English to make you understand what I'm talking about. I write all my content in English.
I think you speak fantastic English, to be honest. I've understood every word.
Thank you. And yeah, that's what I mean. That's because I've been doing it now for a few years, and it feels almost natural. It feels like almost like my native language.
Oh, don't say that. You'll become one of us. You'll be a Brit, and you'll be taking your top off when it gets to 15 degrees outside. You don't want that.
Yeah. No, we don't want that.
And then going on from that like self-acceptance thing.
Yeah.
Going on from the self-acceptance thing, how much do you find that you deal with expectations? Because I know when working with clients and myself, when you do that first video, there's often that expectation that you're going to do it great the first time. And that is never the case. And trying to tell people that, like, you can see it, like their souls sink a little bit because they're like, oh, no, this is going to take work to get good. And then you're like, and you put that video online, it's not likely to go viral. And they're like, oh, but it's more important to do it because then you're building the blocks to get better and then to go viral. So do you find that with your clients, like you're setting the seeds of self-acceptance and then helping them have better expectations?
Absolutely. So I usually work with people that are like high performers in some field already before they hire me. They have built a successful business. They have been a pro athlete or something similar, but they struggle in some other areas, usually with like a lot of self-doubt. They feel like a failure even though they have achieved success. But that's like they usually have achieved great success in one area because they're talented in the area and put in a lot of hard work. And then when they start in another area, they expect the results to be the same, even though they know deep down they've worked really hard for 30 years to become a pro athlete, for example. You can't expect to become a millionaire in business the first week in business. It's many times it's about like taking down the expectations. It's like I've read this quote that the only way like you can get disappointed in life is if your expectations are too high or if you're not working hard enough. So if you know that it will take a lot of hard work, a lot of long hours, a lot of outreach to build a successful business, if you know that and you're ready to do it, then you will do it. Then you will do the hard work. If you're not ready to do the hard work, it's not realistically to have expectations to build $1 million business. You won't. So then you can take down your expectations, throw them in the trash can, and put proper expectations instead. Like I want to make £2,000 per month from my business. If that's the only work you're ready to put in, does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's kind of a combination of expectation and commitment level.
Yes, exactly.
So Robin, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for coming on. I think we're going to need to do a part 2 and have you back. But as I wrap this up, can you let people watching and listening know where they can find you and where they can apply to silence their bitch voice and get some decent sleep?
Yeah, you can send me an email at robin@robinwesterlund.com. So it's Robin at my name. I think my name will be in the show notes somewhere, so it will be easy for them to understand. Yeah,
there'll be a link below.
Yeah, and I can also put my Linktree link there. There are my links to all my platforms: my LinkedIn, my Facebook, my Instagram, and my email list. And yeah, they can choose any platform to reach out to me on, and I'll help them silence the bitch voice for sure.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. And for you at home watching and listening this, keep being rad.